I'm Jim Carroll. As a futurist, my job is to inspire your imagination, challenge you with disruption, and spur you on to greater success with innovation in a world which involves the era of acceleration. And I want to put in perspective for you some of those trends that you need to be thinking about as we go into a faster future. Many companies are discovering that the pathway to success involves aligning themselves to new materials, advanced science, hyperconnectivity with the Internet of Things, and the ability to re-engineer and redesign and come up with entirely new products that did not exist several years ago. They're following the path of Apple, who is in a situation right now where 60% of its revenues comes from products that didn't exist 4 years ago. Organizations are realizing that they need to reinvent themselves at a faster pace to align themselves to the era of acceleration in which products do not last in the marketplace as long as they used to. We know there's a lot of talk about self-driving cars, autonomous vehicles, self-driving trucks. But one of the most fascinating trends involves the forthcoming outsourcing of a lot of day-to-day activities. You know, most vehicle manufacturers today are prototyping some type of vehicle which can be driven by someone 3,000 miles away. If you think we have seen the era of offshoring, you haven't seen anything next. As we migrate to a world in which artificial intelligence and autonomous outsourcing comes to play a key role in the world of transportation, in the world of manufacturing, and even in the world of healthcare, with remote autonomous medical procedures soon to become a reality. You know, one of the trends I'm most excited about involves the marriage of robotic technology with drone technology. When it comes to home construction, for example, we will actually have a drone delivery pad as part of our driveway with a robotic arm that will grab the product which has been delivered by an e-commerce vendor and pull it into a storage locker for safekeeping. When it comes to logistics, transportation, and shipping, we are going to see magical advances where last mile delivery will become a key component of the overall supply chain. We're going to see the emergence of a lot of robotic technology, including drones, which will take over that aspect of last mile delivery. We might actually have a situation where a robotic drone will unpack the truck and take the products and prepare them for shipment. One of the most significant trends involves the fact that we are witnessing the end of the era of oil. And to a large degree, this is coming about because of the acceleration of the battery science technology. For many organizations, advanced battery technology is the holy grail of innovation. What it means in terms of the electrical grid is the transition to a system in which we can store a greater amount of renewable energy into battery technology, so it can be fed back into the grid during the evening when it is needed most. Most vehicle manufacturers realize that they will be a mostly or 80% electric vehicle fleet by the year 2025. We are witnessing a furious pace of innovation and development with electric vehicle technology, and there is no doubt that this is only going to speed up as consumers indicate their desired preference for electric vehicle technology solutions. Embedding hyper-connected intelligent technology into every single aspect of our regular lives is going to provide boundless opportunity. When it comes to the future of highways, we are going to see the emergence of intelligent highways with embedded sensors in the road. On those very same roads, streetlights and other parts of the road infrastructure will become connected, intelligent, aware, and will also become a part of the infrastructure which will provide us a pathway into the future of transportation. When it comes to healthcare and food, one of the most fascinating trends which I'm watching involves the marriage of genomics, a DNA-based technology and science, the marriage of connectivity and mobile devices, and the marriage of healthcare and wellness. We are seeing organizations in both the healthcare and food sectors realize that we can engineer a world in which people will use their mobile devices to undertake food consumption and wellness activities which are closely related to their particular genetic profile. The entire form of thinking is that, look, my glycemic index for an apple might be entirely different from your glycemic index for an apple. So let's engineer a future of health and wellness that is based upon particular genetic profiles and real-time information on food consumption patterns and activities. We are witnessing several major organizations invest hundreds of millions of dollars into this emerging billion-dollar opportunity. When we marry food, science, genomics, and mobile devices, everything changes because we now have an opportunity to provide consumers a pathway into a new world of healthcare. Organizations continue to ride the acceleration of science and the emergence of all kinds of new materials, which help them to fundamentally change the nature of the products that they are engineering in their marketplace. Think about the emergence of a material known as boron-nitron nanotubes. It's a mouthful, but what it represents is a pathway for organizations who are continually trying to lighten the nature of the products that they are bringing to market, making them less heavy than they have been before. This has a big implication in the world of transportation, automotive and aircraft. People who are talking about this particular science realize it could take us into a world in which we actually have aircraft which are lighter than air, just like we saw with the arrival of the jet in Wonder Woman. We are seeing leading-edge organizations continue to ride the acceleration of science, particularly as it relates to the emergence of new materials. One of the key goals of a lot of organizations is to figure out how do we make the products that we are bringing to the marketplace lighter. Innovative organizations are riding the trend that we are going to see massive urbanization, in which 20 megacities might house some 60% of the global population by the year 2025 or 2030. What this represents is a massive opportunity to change the way we think, for example, about food production. We are seeing individuals focused on the concept of vertical farms. Let's build entire structures in which we can actually grow the food inside the city. And with this comes a new career of people known as vertical farm infrastructure managers. Massive urbanization provides unrelentless opportunity for those who align themselves to one of the key trends of the 21st century. Innovative organizations are riding demographic trends and rethinking what they can do in terms of solving some of the biggest challenges of our time. When it comes to Alzheimer's disease, we are seeing one of the greatest challenges of the 21st century. And there are organizations who are realizing that what we did for heart health in the 20th century, we can do for brain health in the 21st century. Other organizations are realizing there are tremendous demographic trends involving aging in place. Look, we're not going to be able to build enough seniors care facilities to house all of us baby boomers in the future. And we are going to see the emergence of an entire new focus on community care, where we will live in our homes longer. We're going to see the emergence of a lot of technology which will help us to interact with life. And that's where opportunities from hyperconnectivity come into play. Look, I'm talking to organizations who are realizing that we can provide coffee cups and other technologies which help senior citizens interact with their daily life, and also in a world of community care in which we can monitor them and watch for behaviors that are out of norm that come with dementia and Alzheimer's. We are seeing organizations realize that as we see the emergence of one of the greatest healthcare challenges through the next 30 or 40 years, that we've got to have a lot of innovative thinking involving technology, involving connectivity, and involving new ways of thinking about seniors care to provide a solution and a pathway to deal with the scope of the challenge. Big data and analytics, it continues to be a world of relentless hype, but there is no doubt that there is a lot going on. Did you know the typical acre of corn today is putting off 5 gigabytes of data a year? In the world of self-driving autonomous vehicles, the typical car or truck is putting off 7 gigabytes of data per hour. It is estimated that Tesla has connected tens of billions of miles of information from the vehicles that it has people driving all over the world. And it is using this information to engineer a future in which it can better understand the nature of the roads, the nature of the vehicles, the nature of the traffic, the nature of the infrastructure in which its self-driving vehicles will navigate themselves around at some point in the future. Organizations are beginning to realize that while big data and analytics might seem to be a lot of hype, we are truly in a world in which we have billions of devices generating all kinds of information, and we are beginning to understand how we can use that in terms of innovation and opportunity. Many organizations continue to track the trends involving the acceleration of methodologies, new ways of doing things, re-engineering existing business or manufacturing process to take advantage of leading-edge opportunities. It's when we align 3D printing technology, also known as additive manufacturing, with the concept of mass customization that our entire world changes. We can now engineer a product for a market of one. Add to that the concept of end of runway manufacturing, and we truly could be on the precipice of an era in which we see the end of physical inventory. Instead, we could move into a world in which an individual buys a product, and that product schematic is shipped to the closest manufacturing site, perhaps at an airport, involving sophisticated logistics companies such as UPS or FedEx, who print the product using additive manufacturing technology and deliver it to you. What happens in a world in which we see the end of inventory will prove to be one of the most profound trends of the 21st century. With battery technology, we're seeing the emergence of a lot of fascinating concepts. Here's a phrase that you need to think about: vehicle-to-grid connectivity. What is it? Well, it's a trend in which your electric car actually becomes a part of the overall electrical grid. Energy utilities are actively exploring a world in which they will pay you to store renewable energy, solar and wind, in your vehicle during the day when you're not using it, to feed it back into the electrical grid during the evening. It's the exploration of fascinating new business models like this, which are providing a catalyst for the doers and dreamers of the innovation world. Artificial intelligence. Maybe it's a little bit overhyped, but we are seeing real advances, particularly in the world of healthcare. It's said in one California hospital, we can actually use artificial intelligence technology to assess the risk of a stroke post-operative with 90% accuracy, where humans might have 40% accuracy. One of the biggest trends has to do with the fact that we are moving from the world of location intelligence or GPS mapping technology to a world of spatial intelligence. What's that? Well, if you think about location intelligence, and what has emerged through the last decade is that we have built a lot of business models on the ability to understand where we are at a particular point on the planet. Now imagine the world in 3 dimensions. Imagine that I can not only understand information about this particular point on the planet, but at this particular point on the planet this high, or a point on the planet a mile high, or a point on the planet 500 feet below the surface. What happens in a world of spatial intelligence is we move to a world of 3-dimensional location intelligence. Look, the industry that is going to emerge from this is going to be absolutely massive. Spatial intelligence will be engineered into a lot of everyday products. Spatial intelligence is going to result in a lot of innovative thinking when it comes to product design. Think about the world of fitness. Think about what happens when you go in the gym. Think about what happens when you are doing a routine on a particular piece of equipment. If you work with a personal trainer, he or she might say to you that you need to move in a particular plane to have the most impact and the best benefit from that particular exercise routine. Now imagine that you have some smart clothing which feeds information to your latest smartphone fitness device. And imagine that it is monitoring in real time whether you are doing the right action in the right spatial plane, and it gives you instant information on how well you are doing a performance of that activity. It's ideas like that which are going to mean that spatial intelligence will be one of the most profound trends in years to come. There's a child alive today who will never know how to drive a car because they will live in the era of self-driving vehicles. There is a child alive today who will know what medical conditions they are likely to develop and be impacted by through the rest of their life as a result of the acceleration of genomic DNA-based medicine. There is a child alive today for whom some type of robotic device will be a regular part of their daily working and personal life. There is a child alive today who will have some sort of live tissue used for eye care, dental, or other medical transplant procedure. There is a child alive today who will probably live in a world in which they have a number of sensors embedded in their body which provide information on their health and other factors which guide them throughout their life. There's a child alive today who will see the entire virtualization of industries utilizing their skills that they developed through computer gaming to redefine the function of where work is actually performed. And there is a child alive today who will participate in some form of text message-based elections, which will be instant and will fundamentally change the very concept of democracy for those nations that still have a democratic system in place. There is a child alive today who is looking for you to build a future for them that is free of fear, free from oppression, and full of freedom. If you've been following me in the past, one of my key words for my clients is that the future belongs to those who are fast. And through the last several years, I've witnessed a number of my clients approach this reality by doing something fascinating. They've carved out the fast-growing, fast-moving portion of their organization and have put it into a separate legal entity so that that organization can operate and innovate at the speed required in the high-velocity economy. What will you do to restructure your innovation capabilities and your ability to align yourself to the fast-paced trends of the future? Visit my website, watch some of my videos, give me a call, contact me, and we can talk about how you can align yourself for a world of unrelentless change and fascinating opportunity. I'm Jim Carroll, Futurist Trends and